I love Naples. I love Collier County. And over the course of my many years here, I've had the incredible experience to understand what makes us the best place in America to live. And let me tell you, it's not just our beaches. Far from it, actually. It's our people, and it's our partnerships. And none of it's happened by accident. I've seen it time and time again. The more people learn about what's happening in our community, the more they come to the realization, this is not happening where I come from. Collier is special. Collier is unique. That's why I'm bringing you Community Matters. Think of this as your Collier County 101. I'm your guide, introducing you to the people and the resources that I think that you should know through short, real conversations so that you feel more empowered and ready to engage in ways that will positively impact your life, your family, your careers, and this beautiful place that we get to call home. Because community matters. Hello and welcome to Community Matters. I'm Amanda Pearson. Today I am excited to chat with and have you get to know David Diamond, co-founder, CEO, and co-chairman of DeAngelis Diamond. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me, Amanda.
In your Venture X.
Yes.
So I suppose I should say thank you for having me here today. You know, I like to start with just a little bit of people getting to know you, and I have a lot to discuss about who you are, which is quite incredible. So I really think that people should pay a lot of attention to this because it's a lot and it's amazing. David's a serial entrepreneur and an angel investor who also happens to be the co-founder and CEO of DeAngelis Diamond Construction family of companies, which has grown to over $5 billion in sales and is one of Florida's largest companies. It has ranked 217 of the top 400 construction companies globally.
Yeah.
Wow. In addition to DeAngelis Diamond, David has launched over 20 successful startups, both as a co-founder and early stage angel investor in Silicon Valley, New York, and Florida. 3 of his companies have been acquired by Google, Amazon, and TripAdvisor. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Venture X, where we are today, is also David's company with co-founder Brett Diamond, his son. Venture X is a revolutionary designed global private membership premium co-working space created for today's innovative entrepreneurs, startups, and creative professionals, and Fortune 500 businesses. Venture X now has over 76 global locations. Is that correct?
That's right.
Amazing.
Yep.
David travels domestically and abroad, directly involving himself in raising awareness of the magnitude of human trafficking, the plight of refugees in Darfur, orphans in Sudan, Kenya, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and relationship building in the Caucasus and regions of southern Russia. And if that wasn't enough, on the theme of Community Matters, David's leadership locally includes serving on several boards, such as president and chairman of the board of the Naples International Film Festival, member of the advisory council for FGCU's Luckert College of Business, chair of David Lawrence Center's think tank, an inductee of Junior Achievement Hall of Fame, the board of Fusion Point, and more broadly, the board of influence for the Kingdom of Mobilization and the board of advisors for Marbles LLC. Whew, get out of breath just saying all that. You'll often find David guest speaking on the topic of entrepreneurship at several universities as well, including FGCU, Ave Maria University, and the Nalchik Business Institute of Russia, where he's an honorary professor. And if that wasn't enough, he's an ordained deacon and an elder at First Naples Church. Wow. So this is exactly why it is my true honor to have you here today. And I wanted to start with, sharing with people that I don't often interview and discuss private business. I tend to focus more on nonprofits or civic organizations. But I really think it's important to do this because as a private businesses are clearly a part of a thriving economy and a community. However, it's my intention to spotlight the businesses that others can learn from through excellent leadership, culture, and intentional community betterment. And I know that DeAngelis Diamond does this in spades. So that being said, I'd love to start at the very beginning with the founding of DeAngelis Diamond. You went from a company that was the size of 2 in 1996.
That's right.
You and the amazing John DeAngelis to everything that I just described before. So can you share a little bit on how and why DeAngelis Diamond was founded, to how you got to where you are today.
Well, Amanda, first, thank you for inviting me here. This is quite an honor to be here and to be one of the first businesses that you're interviewing. And I couldn't love your title more, Community Matters. We couldn't agree more with that. And God bless you for what you're doing with this and this podcast. Thank you for the kind introduction. I would either like to invite you to introduce me everywhere I speak now or record this and take it with me. You did quite the job there. So thank you. I feel very honored. I loved telling this story, so thank you for asking. Our company that John and I founded in 1996, we're going to celebrate 30 years this year. Come June, we're going to have our 30th anniversary celebration. And, that shows how old John and I are right now. We found the company here. I think I have the honor and the privilege to be the CEO of what I think is the greatest construction company in the nation to work with and to work for. And I say that because we have the best people. We have the most talented builders. They're experts at what they do. They build complex, complicated projects, unique. They're innovative and entrepreneurial by nature, our team. And they love what they do. And they love giving back to the communities that we serve everywhere that we work and do business. And we're going to get to share some more about that today. I'm excited to share that with you. And our foundation story in 96, I'll go a little before then. When we started, I grew up as a Floridian in West Palm Beach, Florida. My dad was a construction worker. My mom worked a cashier at what's today known as CVS drugstores. And I had really a great family and a great parents who raised us. My dad taught me a trade, and I took that trade and paid my way through college at the University of Florida, where I got a degree in construction management. John DeAngelis did the same thing. He went to the University of Florida, got a degree. We both ended up here in Naples at different times. I'm a few years older, about 7 years older than John. So I came in 86 and worked for a large construction company here. And I had a plan. And when I was in college, a 10-year plan, I said, I'm going to graduate, work for a great builder, and be the best project manager they ever had. I'm going to be the best project manager that anyone that they knew of, even their competitors. I wanted to really learn the business well, every part of the business. And then I wanted to start my own company after 10 years. And I was going to save all my money and just put everything away to launch a business. And I happened to work for a company here in Naples who was a great builder. They were known and had a reputation of quality, building them faster than anybody else. They built a lot of the skyline that you see today. If you go on the beach, all those condos and high rises. Scott Lucker was one of my first clients. I got to work with Scott, who's a man I admire greatly. As a young man, I admired him as his leadership and also how he gave back to the communities. I worked for Ronto Development down on Marco Island, building mid-rises down there as a project manager, and really got involved in learning the business well. And we were great builders. We had a great reputation. It's where I met John DeAngelis. He came, I was there 10 years. He came the last 5 years of that 10 years stay that I was there. And we worked at the same company, but we really didn't work together because it was a large company. He ran projects, I ran projects. And so we loved what we were doing. We loved being builders. But this was in a time in the 80s and 90s when construction was different. It was a command and control type of a business. Culture and values weren't talked about much in the 80s and 90s because unemployment was like 7.5%. They would tell you as an employee, look, if you don't do what we ask you to do, we'll fire you. We can replace you tomorrow. So it was just do your job and do what we tell you. So we loved the business, but we didn't like the culture and the values. And so I'm in about my 9th year of my 10-year plan. I start planning a business to do it on my own. I'm going to start my own construction company. I've saved up my money. And John, who was working there, came to me, says, hey, you want to have lunch? I go, yeah, sure. What's on your mind? He goes, I just want to talk to you. And he takes me to lunch. He goes, have you ever thought of starting your own construction company? I go, how's he know? I'm secretly doing this, preparing this. And he didn't know. He just, was thinking the same thing. He goes, well, I'm thinking about doing it. And I want to be a builder. I just don't like to do it here. And I'd like to have a partner. And would you consider it? And I said, John, thank you. I am thinking about it. And I'm definitely going to be doing it next year. And I wasn't thinking of having a partner because they're so hard to have, and it's like a marriage and half of them fail. But if we're going to do it, it's going to be like a marriage. We're going to have to date. We're going to have to, for I don't know how long, for weeks, months, we got to get to know each other. I want to know your values, what you believe. I want to get to know your family, my family, get to know yours. And we had young families. I had kids in elementary school. He had kids younger than that even, and one on the way. And so we met. What ended up being, we didn't plan it, but it ended up being 6 months. We met every Monday morning at 7 a.m., either at his house or my house before we go to work, and we would talk about business. We'd talk about our values. We would pray every day about, God, do you want us to do this? And after 6 months of doing that, we go, okay, God's telling us, you guys should do this together. And so we started at DeAngelis Diamond in 96. We wrote down a mission statement. We wrote down our core values. Before we started, they're still true today. We haven't changed a word of them. They guide us today in all our decisions and what we do. And now today, we have this great company that was founded here and it's still headquartered in Naples. We're in 8 locations from Detroit, Michigan, Nashville, Tennessee, Orlando, Sarasota, Tampa, Birmingham. We work in 14 states. We have over 100 construction projects active right now. 320 employees of the best people that you could ever want to work with. That's our founding story.
I've heard, I feel like maybe 80% of this before, but I am just always so blown away. I can't believe that you guys haven't changed a word of your mission statement and values.
Yeah.
And just to think about the growth in 30 years, it's jaw-dropping. And something, it also makes me think about, anytime that I've worked with you in the past, mm-hmm. I've always really valued the way that you're not a quick yes to anything. Yeah. And I very much respect that about you. You want to know all the details and you want to think about it, most mm-hmm. likely pray about it.
That's right.
And take some time to make a really thoughtful decision. And I greatly appreciate that about you. So now I can see that theme, woven into the founding of the company. So the other, you mentioned and I shared a little bit more about those core values mm-hmm. that you haven't changed a word of. Wow.
Yes.
So I know that your culture is incredible. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I love your core values so much. In particular, we'll get to one of them in a bit, but. Mm-hmm. Can you share more about what these core values are, why they were created, which you shared a little bit on, how you think it impacts your company and your cultural success?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and you're right. So we're what we call a mission-driven, values-led company. And what that means is our values lead every decision we make on a daily basis, and especially when you have those difficult times you have to make decisions. I would recommend every company, if you're starting a company or if you have an existing company, to write down your core values. Those values that are really important to you at your very core, that's why they're called core values. Values that you'll never compromise, values that will help you make decisions. We have 7. They begin with faith in God, lasting relationships, leadership by influence, healthy environment and culture, quality and excellence, integrity. All these values lead us to the decisions we make. And I'll share a couple of principles I've learned. And we've learned this, that to be a great leader, it's really important to have a plan. Most leaders have a plan. Good leaders have a backup plan to their plan. And they say great leaders have a backup plan to their backup plan. But we also know this, things never go as planned. Right? Mike Tyson's famous for saying everyone has a plan till they get punched in the face in boxing. There's a war general that says, every battle plan never survives the first contact with the enemy. And so what does that mean about planning? Well, it's still important to plan, but even more important, it's important to have great leaderships who have great training and who have great values. Because during those times when there's uncertainty, when things don't go as planned, you can fall back on, okay, what do our core values tell us to do at this point? And how will they lead us through these times of uncertainty? Like when COVID hit, when the financial crisis hit, when the hurricanes hit, how do we lead through these times? How do we treat people? How do we think about safety? How do we think about culture and values and things like that? So really important to have those values, and they've served us really well.
I love that. I I'm a planner, as most people know who know me, and I love having a backup plan to the plan. Plan B always. It's just as good as that first plan. And I'm also thinking about I'm pregnant right now, and people are like, "Do you have a birth plan?" And I kind of laugh. I'm like, "That's funny," because everyone that I've talked to, you have a plan, but it never goes according to plan. But it's good to have those guiding principles. It's what's really important.
That's right.
And reminds me of that phrase, "Clarity is kindness." And so when you have absolute clarity in who you are and what your company is and what guides you, everything else just kind of falls into place. And I've experienced what it's like to work with your teams before on construction sites. Not that I'm in construction, but I've been present when your teams are there, and they're fantastic. And you can just tell, like, this is definitely DeAngelis Diamond team. I was also thinking about, I didn't realize how much you've been a part of since the 90s too. And it must be so interesting to drive around Naples and wherever looking at what you and your team and John have been a part of, from the beaches to Fifth Avenue to all of our amazing nonprofits. Like, that's incredible. That must be a very special feeling. Is. So one of your core values, your first one, faith in God.
Yes.
And that, when I've chatted with you before, I've asked John this before at events. I mean, I've said it, and then when you explain it, my opinion changes, but it seems very bold for a private business, and to say that our first core value is faith in God. So if you could share a little bit more, maybe there's a company that is interested in that and doing that, or maybe there's what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? Truly a day-to-day basis, to maybe how it looks from a planning perspective, or some of those bigger moments. What does faith in God look like for a private business, and how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love this question. It's beautiful. It's it's bold, right? It's very bold. And I think when John and I had wrote that down, that was our very first core value, and all the rest of them built off of that. That was the foundation principle and the value that we were going to have. We didn't think of it as bold. We just thought of it as obvious. This is what we're going to follow. This is our number one core value that we have. And I understand later, after we made it, people would tell us, "Boy, that was bold. And are you sure you want to do that? And that's kind of courageous, that kind of a thing, especially if you want to be a national builder and go into other markets and other regions." And we thought, yeah, but that's our value. But to us, and we'd like to explain it to people. We go, look, here's what this value means to us. We believe in God. We believe God has created us. We believe God loves people. We believe that God has created everyone with a purpose, and He's created everyone equally, and that we should treat each other equally, that we should treat each other with respect, treat each other with honesty and integrity. And these are values and principles that, regardless of your faith, or even if you have no faith at all, these are principles that you could live by that will make your life better. It'll make your business better. It'll be a more fulfilling life. You're giving back and helping other people. And so they're just great values that we think anyone can enjoy and have a better life. And so everyone is welcome at DeAngelis Diamond. We welcome people of all faiths and no faiths. We just want them to know that when you come here, this is one of our foundational principles, and this is how we're going to be making decisions. And it's the same with our clients. We share with our clients. This is our core value. With our partners, our vendors that we work with, we just say, we're going to operate under these principles, and we just want you to know that. And we also want people to know this too, is don't hire us because of this value. There are occasionally we get asked by a vendor that will tell us, "Hey, I see you're a Christian organization, so am I, will you hire me?" They're a plumber or electrician, and we go, and the first question I'll ask them is like, "Well, how good of a plumber are you? Or how good of an electrician?" I'm great that you have those values, but we lead with, first and foremost, we're a great builder. And we want to be the best. We want to build it safer, faster, and higher quality for our clients, because we're helping our clients realize their dreams. And we want you to know that's our focus, be great at this, because you deserve greatness. And then we have this value that leads all of our decisions. And so we don't lead with it as a way for developing business. We just want people to understand this is the foundational principles that we have. And so that's our beliefs, that's our faith, and those are the values that we believe anyone can be successful that believes the same thing.
I love that. And I think, some things that I've noticed is, you or John will openly quote scripture,
Yeah.
publicly or in meetings, or you'll open up meetings with prayer, and you have employees that will come to you sometimes or go to others
Yeah.
for counsel sometimes. And what it ends up looking from my perspective is just a really beautiful thing. And from what you've shared with me, you guys haven't experienced any issues at all in 30 years with having a core value of faith in God. Last but not least, you also have a program called DeAngelis Diamond, which stands for Women Empowerment, which is incredible. I've been to some of those before too. What's that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, women empowerment. So, to tell you that, so last week was Women in Construction Week. All during this month, it's International Women's Day and these things. Last week with Women in Construction, we got to celebrate the wonderful women leaders that we have at DeAngelis Diamond. We have women who are project managers, superintendents that lead a variety of our leadership roles, from HR to accounting and finance to marketing and business development. And one of those leaders is Xanan Garza. And Xanan Garza has a couple roles at our company. She's fantastic. She's the vice president of business development for the Naples market. Like you, she knows everyone in the community. She connects us with people very well, and is very, very engaging. Her other title is she's also the director of the DeAngelis Diamond Foundation. Our DeAngelis Diamond Foundation are a nonprofit where DeAngelis Diamond Construction gives 2% of all of its profits into the foundation, and that's how we financially support the organizations and causes and all the communities that we're in. And Xanan helps us direct those and interview those nonprofits so we know where we can do the most good in the causes that share the same things we deeply care about. She established about 5 years ago, Women Empowerment, where she, and she's great at this, she wanted to bring together women in a community and have a luncheon and bring a great speaker, another woman speaker who would just speak and share their leadership role and how others can learn from that and empower each other and just engage and have great conversation. And she does these about monthly. She's wanting to take that to all our markets, up to Nashville and Orlando and the other markets. And you should have her on the podcast. She's fantastic.
She is. No pressure. Oh no, she and I remember one of the events at NCH, and hearing from one of the female leaders there, and it was a very comforting and reassuring and event full of other women and who were just sharing vulnerably about some struggles and passions and opportunities. So love it. Love that you guys focus on that. Kind of makes me think about a little bit, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And you guys have part of this. I've realized we've already figured out, right? Is that your core values were first and foremost. Mm-hmm. So that was the foundation, and then you added on to that with all of these programs. So you've kind of already shared a little bit on that about. Is there anything more that you think maybe a business needs to know if they were in those starting a company of first foundationally core values, have a plan, then you can of course add on some of these supplemental additional cultural programs to support a good culture.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you would maybe advise a company?
Yeah, you're hitting on something really important, and that's culture. And as a leader, as my role as CEO, it's really critical that I have a vision for the company, a bold vision that people want to join and follow, then have a strategy to accomplish it, build a team that can accomplish it, have those core values. And the other piece, the final piece, is culture, is creating and developing a culture that great talent want to join and be part of, where great talent can do great work, where people want to work and they can do the things that they want to accomplish. Culture is just a way of life for a group of people. The culture at DeAngelis Diamond is a culture that we think is our competitive advantage, is what makes us uniquely different. It's a culture that is a lot of things, and we use words to describe it, and our people get tired of us talking about it so much, but it's that important. It helps us accomplish our mission. And part of that culture is giving back. And so the people who have joined our organization know that they're going to have opportunities to give back. And so we have what's called Team Impact. So the foundation that I mentioned to you is our the way that we give financially to nonprofits in the areas that we work. Our DeAngelis Diamond Team Impact is how our people can volunteer their services. And so our people in the summertime before school starts, they're raising money to collect backpacks and school supplies and filling them up and distributing them to hundreds of students every year. They do the same thing at Thanksgiving, thousands of meals they're preparing and handing out. All through the year, they're doing 5K races and runs, raising money for foundation. We give them time for this. We support them. We organize it for them. Just yesterday, we had 18 members at Florida Gulf Coast University, your alma mater, and they had this big event, their career week, and our recruiters, we have 5 in-house recruiters, were there, our Xanon was there, our project managers were there, and the students were interested in where they're going to be applying for a job. How can they be prepared with interview questions? How can they prepare their resume? And so Bailey, who is seeing, we get about 10,000 resumes a year. For the 125 people that we hired last year, we're going to hire 170. She's seen a lot of resumes and they were like, how do I make mine stand out? So she gave them great advice how to make their resume stand out. So there's all these opportunities that our people have to give back, have a positive impact, have a positive influence in the community. That makes people want to work with us. They love working with us. They love joining our team. We're helping our communities. Our tagline is building a better future together. Everyone rallies behind that.
I love that. And I just, it's so evident that you go as a company above and beyond. You build buildings. Yes, you build buildings. But you are working on building stronger communities through engagement of talent development, volunteerism,
yes,
philanthropy, which you're very intentional about as well. And that is, I think, which leads to the last question of, I think a lot of businesses get, it's hard not to see beyond your day-to-day business and understand how your business truly fits into the community outside of the work that you do on a day-to-day basis. So if you were to give some advice to somebody who was, let's say, a solopreneur, maybe not a solopreneur, but maybe a company of 5 to 10, a small business, how could they do something like that?
That's right. Yeah, that's a great question. I like answering this. This is this gets often asked, and we've been there. We've been there with just John and I. We were 2 people. We answered the phones. We were superintendents, project managers, accounting, did all those things as a small team. I invest in startups and I mentor startups as well, small organizations. And I get it. Look, when you're small like that and you're thinking, you know what, it's all we can every day to put our head down, just get work done. And we're working long hours trying to build up a business. And I can share with you from my experience I've seen with peers and competitors, giving back to the community will help you in 3 ways that you can measure. First, if you can find an opportunity, and giving in any type of way, like when we were just starting out, and you mentioned some of it, I had little kids, and so I was coaching Brett's basketball team. I was coaching my daughter's softball league. I was coaching at the YMCA T-ball. I was a deacon at the church, and we were taking our kids on Sundays to go to the senior living facility and having singing hymns to them and things like that. So that you can give back in ways that include your family and maybe include your family, so it doesn't seem like it's taken away from your business. I get it can be hard, but it also, by giving, we're all blessed when we give, right? And so you're going to feel good about giving. You'll be blessed for doing it. If you just want to look at it from a pure business standpoint and you're running a business, well, part of running a business, customers love working with people they know, that they can trust, and they're honest. If your customers see that you're giving back to your community and you care, they're going to want to do business with you. So it'll help you grow your business by giving back. And then also employees, as we shared earlier. If you're looking to hire people and recruit people, people want to be part of something bigger than themselves or bigger than the organization and not just have a job that they show up to. But if your business is also giving back to the community, people love joining your organization so that they can also be part of something bigger. So I would find ways to give back. I know it could be sacrificial at first when you're starting out, but the benefits are there.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. I always think a lot of people, when they think about giving, they think of giving money only, which is always very helpful, right? But there's the giving of some of the things you've mentioned, which is giving of your time,
that's right,
giving of your talent, and giving of your treasure, of course. So thanks for sharing your wisdom with us truly today. I can only hope that we have, in a perfect world, I always think about what's the call to action, right, from this today. For me, it's that if every company could run just a little bit more like yours, truly, with so much of what you've talked about today, I think our community would be better for it, truly, and really take full responsibility of who we are as a community and engage in that way. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Amanda. God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And for all those listening today, I hope that you'll find a way to run your business in an impactful way, because community matters.